Everyone, Django Fett here, hunting down games, comics, TV shows, movies, and more, and this is a review for Dune Part 2. So I've been waiting for this movie for quite some time, for a very long time actually, since the end of Dune Part 1, and I was just excited to see what they'll do with Dune Part 2. I actually expected it to come out on my birthday last year, and I was ready and prepared to watch it. But unfortunately, it was delayed, and I found out at the last minute. I was like, "Oh shit, it's being delayed till March." So I was like, "Okay, whatever." At this point, I was a little disappointed, but you know, it's out now, so you know I can't complain any further. So there is quite a lot I want to talk about with this movie, and if you haven't seen my reviews for a bunch of Dune stuff, because after Dune Part 1, I was obsessed with Dune stuff. I read the novels. The first two novels, I'm still reading the third novel. Read them, watched the movie, I think it was 84 movie, really old movie, it's not very good. I do want to rewatch it again to compare it to this, but I do have reviews for the older movie, Dune 2021, I think it's 21. And so I recommend you guys check that out. Also, watch my book review as well. So I'll put two of my recommendations. If you haven't seen it already, I definitely go spoiler-free. So if you haven't seen those movies, go ahead and watch my videos and see what I think about it. And it is spoiler-free, so it's very accessible. So I had a lot to say about the book, and I loved Dune Part 1. I thought it was incredible. I thought it was great. It was lore accurate, very accurate to the books, and I loved it. And I just loved the portrayals, the visuals, everything about it. Dune Part 1 was fantastic. And now Dune Part 2 is here, so there is a lot to talk about. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the things that I liked, and there's also things I did not like, and I'm going to keep it spoiler-free, of course, but I'm also going to do something different and have another video on Dune Part 2 spoiler discussion, because there's a lot I want to talk about in the spoilers. But for now, this is just going to be a non-spoiler-free. This is non-spoilers and basically just going into my thoughts, what I think about everything that I thought about Dune, and give you guys my rating at the end. Alright, so let's get right into the casting first off. So we have Austin Butler as Fade Ratha. I thought that was a really interesting casting, and he worked. I thought he was a great choice as Fade Ratha, as this psychopathic killer. He really worked. I thought he did a great job in this movie, and I didn't like towards the end for his character, but I'll discuss that in the spoilers. His competition with Timothée Chalamet, but his character as Paul Atreides, we'll get into that in the spoilers. Okay, I'll just say that. Also, Florence Pugh was a surprise as Princess Arulin. She's not in this movie that much. That's to be expected. In the 84. I can't remember the year off the top of my head. In the 80s movie, I don't remember the actress, but she did a fairly good job. And she's pretty much the narrator for the book. So if you've read the book, you see like the entries before the chapter begins, every chapter. Most of them are actually by Princess Arulin. And she pretty much does the autobiography for Muad'Dib, or Paul Atreides' character. So she does that in the book throughout. So they actually include some of that in the movie, which I did like. Short time in the movie, but I thought it was good. Now, the ones that really captured it for me, that really struck out, of course, Austin Butler was great. Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica was fantastic. She was really the star in this whole movie. I truly think she kind of she just stole the movie from Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, and I have to give Timothée Chalamet a lot of credit. He did a great job as well. There are things I didn't like about his character towards the end. I felt it was kind of rushed on how they did it, but I think for the most part, I think he did a pretty good job in the movie. I think I just liked him a little bit more in the first movie, but in the second movie, he still does a pretty good job as well. Chani, and Zendaya as Chani, the love interest for Paul Atreides, was also pretty good. I do have some problems with her character in the second half of the movie, but in the first half, I think she did a pretty great job. We also have Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron, Dave Bautista, Javier Bardem as Stilgar, the believer of Paul Atreides as the Messiah. I thought he was phenomenal in this movie. The one casting that really bothered me to no end, and I knew this would be just it didn't make any sense whatsoever, is Christopher Walken as the Emperor, Shaddam Carino. Now, if you've seen pictures of and read the book, you know he has red hair. I think he has a red beard as well. He's very arrogant, very prideful, very gold. They're all about gold for House Carino. You know, minus their soldiers, I think, but their attire is very gold. He himself is a very vain, arrogant person. And Christopher Walken he did a great disservice to the Emperor. He did not do a good job whatsoever. And why is it that the 80s movie, they didn't even have red hair either? Like, why don't you get the actual portrayal right? Like, the actual look right? It just seems so lazy to me. And just, Christopher Walken was playing Christopher Walken, and I could not take him seriously whatsoever. He did a terrible job in this movie. And even though the Emperor is in a tiny amount in this movie, he still has a key moment in the end of the movie. And he did not capture it whatsoever. He did a terrible job. Sorry to say. Big casting choice for the Emperor. I've been saying this since the fucking very beginning. I don't know why in the world they chose this instead. But Jared Harris as the Emperor would have been the perfect fucking choice. You had the template right fucking there. I mean, just look at this guy right here. He is the Emperor. He is a great actor. He knows how to do it. He's got the look. Just put him as the fucking Emperor. Why is that so hard? And plus, they got House Carino so fucking wrong in this movie. I just hated the look. They just look so drab and just boring to look at. Like, at least with the fucking 80s movie, you could see they're very, out there. I did like the look of the Sardaukar. I think they're fine. But the look of the actual members of House Carino, they're just un-House Carino. It's just so boring and flat. The visuals are amazing. Absolutely beautiful to behold. The battles, the vistas, the environments. And what helps with that is also the cinematography and the writing behind it is just a beautifully shown and visual treat to see. And I'm planning to see this a second time, to see it in XD, or I think it's Cinemark XD or whatever. I need to see it a second time just so I can reaffirm some things and get into the spoilers discussion for my next video. But I can't wait to see this movie again, just to see the visuals alone, because it makes desert environment, which most people think is a boring environment to look at, and it makes it look so exciting and thrilling and just absolutely beautiful to behold. Nature in itself is beautiful, but and you have to learn to appreciate it. But we never appreciated some things like desert and hot environments, but lo and behold, Dune does that. And Dune is a harsh environment. It's very scary to behold, because you can't really survive out there for too long without the still suit, and the still suit retains your moisture, and without it you practically die within hours, I think. There are parts where there's the Harkonnens don't have the still suits or the actual attire, and they're actually out in the desert, which doesn't make any sense. But minus that, I think it was fine. The next that I think nobody's really talking about, I'm surprised by this, is Hans Zimmer's score is phenomenal. My God, I usually don't get soundtracks nowadays. I really don't care for movies, but this one was just absolutely beautiful. It touched my soul, man. It really did. I think it was Chani's theme. I think that's what it was. I don't remember the actual song, but it was just so freaking beautiful. And oh my God, it was very emotional, especially the ending. Oh my God. The music itself, and you know, with Hans Zimmer, he's a legendary composer, and he's done so much amazing works, including one of my favorites is The Last Samurai. Say what you want about that fucking movie, the soundtrack is fucking amazing. I don't care what anybody says. Next is the storytelling. I think is a good point, but there are issues I have with it towards the end, and you know, character changes, big character changes actually. For some of the characters, I won't get into that. That'll be just left for the discussion, for the spoiler discussion. But some things I liked, some things I just didn't like. Especially since I'm a book fan. I read the book. I really want to read it again, and you know, compare it. I also want to watch the miniseries, watch the movie as well, the '80s movie. I want to compare all the different Dune stuff and compare to this. But I think, as it stands, this is the best adaptation for Dune right now, period. You combine part 1, part 2, it equals the book of Dune. So it's the first Dune book by Frank Herbert. You also have 6 other books by Frank Herbert. But the first Dune book is pretty sizable. So it made sense to do part 1 and part 2. And it was incredible. And I just can't wait to compare this to the miniseries and all that stuff. But as for the look, they nailed the look. The still suits, the Fremen, the Harkonnens, the desert environment, the sandworms. Everything about this was just absolutely amazing. So the bad things, it comes to some of the casting members. And also, I have to say, is some of the story and changes for the characters I just did not like. I think Chani got really annoying towards the second half, which doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't copy anything from the book. It's something different. And one big moment they just don't put with Chani's character and Paul, they just didn't put that. They just took it out altogether. And you also have who am I thinking of? Lady Jessica and her baby. That was a big moment too. I'm kind of up in the air. I have to see this again, but I did like some of the changes they did with her, but at the same time I just don't. So here's the thing. I'm a bit of a book purist. If you don't copy from the book or make it do everything you can to put that material into the movie or TV show or whatever, I'm not going to respect it. As you've probably seen it with the Avatar TV series, that one's a sham. That one's terrible. But this one, they do a lot of great things. They copy from the book to here, to the movie itself for Dune. Part 1, I will say, is more accurate than part 2. So that's why I love part 1 more than part 2, I gotta say. I have to say that. I know a lot of people are gonna say part 2 over part 1, and I get it. But for me, as a bit of a book purist, I gotta say part 1 over part 2. I'm just sorry to say that. So I know many of you guys will disagree with me and you'll bash on me and dislike this video, but that's just my humble opinion. But there is so much good with this movie, and I recommend you guys watch it. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch this movie at all. I'm planning to see it a second fucking time. Okay? I never do this with movies. But since I've been waiting for this movie forever, and I can't... So I watched it on a bit of a smaller screen, which was kind of weird. I went to a different theater. So I'm planning to go to another one, go watching it in XD, the proper one that I'm supposed to watch it in, and see how it is. And I know I'm going to have a good time with it again. And maybe I'll see some things that I didn't see the first time around. So, but as it stands, I'm going to give Dune Part 2 a... just a visual masterpiece of a film. I don't think it's better than part one, just in my humble opinion, but I do have a lot to say about this film. So stay tuned for the next video. I will do a part two for this, like a part two to part two, for a discussion to Dune Part 2 and Dune as a whole. And we're definitely going to have a Dune Messiah movie, so it's going to be Dune 3, third movie. That's going to be all the entirety of Dune Messiah. I'm calling it right now. That's going to be Dune Messiah. 4 and 5 is going to be Children of Dune, because that's a bit of a sizable... So the thing is, Children of Dune is less than the first novel, based on the book itself. But it's still a lot of material, and I don't think they can do it in just one film, but I could be wrong. For people thinking that Dune Messiah will be the last of the Dune trilogy or whatever, think again. I think there's going to be a Children of Dune after that. It's going to be a big success. And this movie is already, making a ton of money, as it should, because there's not really anything out. And it's a perfect time to watch a movie in theaters. This is the movie to see. And it's going to make a shit ton of money. There's definitely has to be a Dune 3, which is going to be Dune Messiah. They're going to adapt the whole thing from there. And things are going to get fucking crazy, man. I'm just going to say that. So let me know what you think of Dune Part 2. Did you enjoy it? Did you, not like the things that from the book to here? Did you like the changes? Did you not like the changes? Just let me know in the comment section. And please be sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, Django Fett, if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.